What if I told you the Ford Mustang wasn't supposed to become one of the most famous cars in history? When Ford created it, they were taking a huge gamble on a new kind of American car, one that was sporty, affordable, and aimed at a younger generation. And somehow that gamble created an automotive legend. But the most interesting part? The Mustang's success almost came down to a few surprisingly simple decisions. And in a moment, I'll show you exactly what they were. Let's go back to the early 1960s. Ford was already one of the biggest car companies in America, but the automotive market was changing. Younger buyers wanted something different. They didn't necessarily want a huge family sedan. They wanted a car that looked exciting, felt sporty, and most importantly, was actually affordable. Ford executives saw the opportunity, and one man in particular, Lee Iacocca, became a major force behind the idea. The goal was simple: create a car that looked like a sports car without costing sports car money. Sounds straightforward, right? Well, the way Ford made that possible is where things get really clever. Instead of designing everything from scratch, Ford decided to use parts from an existing car. That car was the Ford Falcon. The Falcon was practical, inexpensive, and already in production. That meant Ford could use an existing platform and many existing components rather than spending enormous amounts of money developing an entirely new vehicle. But there was a problem. If you simply put a sporty body on a basic economy car, you don't automatically get something exciting. Ford needed the Mustang to feel special, so the design team went to work. The result was a long hood, short rear deck, low profile, and an aggressive but approachable appearance. It looked fast even when it was sitting still. And here's the clever part. Ford understood that people don't just buy cars with their wallets, they buy them with their imagination. The Mustang was designed to make an ordinary driver feel like they were buying something extraordinary. But Ford still had one massive question to answer. Would people actually buy it? And Ford was about to find out in one of the most dramatic product launches the automotive industry had ever seen. Because the Mustang wasn't just introduced at a few dealerships, Ford practically put it everywhere. On April 17, 1964, Ford officially introduced the Mustang at the New York World's Fair. The car immediately attracted attention, and Ford didn't stop there. The company launched a huge advertising campaign, putting the Mustang in front of potential buyers through television, newspapers, magazines, and dealerships across the country. The strategy was brilliant. People didn't have to search for the Mustang. The Mustang came looking for them. And then something unexpected happened. Customers started flooding into Ford dealerships. Demand was so strong that many dealers struggled to keep cars in stock. The Mustang had connected with something Ford understood extremely well. People wanted personalization. Buyers could choose different engines, transmissions, body styles, colors, and options. So instead of simply buying a Mustang, customers could create a Mustang that felt like their Mustang. And that idea would become one of the car's biggest strengths. But there was another reason the Mustang became such a phenomenon, and it had almost nothing to do with horsepower. The Mustang arrived at exactly the right time. America was becoming increasingly influenced by youth culture. Movies, music, fashion, and advertising were changing. And the Mustang fit perfectly into that world. It wasn't positioned as a car only for wealthy enthusiasts. It was something an ordinary young person could dream about and potentially afford. The Mustang also created a new category that would eventually become known as the pony car. Compact compared with many traditional American cars, sporty-looking, affordable, and available with performance options. Other manufacturers quickly noticed. Chevrolet would respond with the Camaro. Dodge would eventually enter the battle with cars like the Challenger. But by then, Ford had already established the Mustang as the name everyone knew. And here's the part that really shows how successful the original idea was. Ford expected strong sales, but the Mustang dramatically exceeded expectations. And the numbers were so impressive that they changed Ford's strategy. But the Mustang's biggest transformation was still ahead. Because Ford eventually realized something, people didn't just want the Mustang to look fast, they wanted it to actually be fast. As the Mustang became more popular, Ford began pushing its performance potential. More powerful engines appeared. Performance-focused versions followed. And eventually, the Mustang became associated with serious American muscle. One of the most famous chapters came with the Shelby Mustang. Car designer and racing legend Carroll Shelby helped transform the Mustang into a much more performance-oriented machine. Suddenly, the Mustang wasn't simply an affordable sporty car. It could be a genuine performance car. And that evolution helped create the Mustang identity we still recognize today. From an inexpensive platform based heavily on existing Ford components, the Mustang had evolved into something much bigger. It had become a brand, a symbol, and for millions of people, a dream car. That's what makes the creation of the Ford Mustang so fascinating. Ford didn't invent the idea of a sporty car. They combined existing technology, aggressive design, smart marketing, affordability, and personalization, and put all of it together at exactly the right moment. The result wasn't just a successful car, it was a cultural phenomenon. And that's why, more than 60 years later, the Mustang name is still instantly recognizable around the world. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to the channel because in the next video, we're going even deeper into the story of another legendary car and the surprising decisions that made it famous. Click the next video on screen and I'll see you there. Check description for business opportunity.